What the Future Holds. Written by Silver Purity. Read by Rashi. Of all the magic Hubert had studied in his life, time travel was not among the topics he thought he'd witnessed firsthand, but the orange-haired, red-clad, obnoxiously bright cavalier that the Black Eagles crowded around like he was some sort of ancient relic was living proof that the concept was possible in some manner. The matching eyes and wavy hair, the same laugh, and the identical preaching of nobility. What had he done to slight the goddess so much she had to curse him with two Ferdinand von Aegirs in his life? Naturally, everyone was curious about what their futures looked like. Surprisingly, the elder Ferdinand, Prime Minister in the future, as was his birthright, was tight-lipped about it all. Understandable, considering the possible repercussions of knowing something they shouldn't at that point in time. However, it did nothing to calm the unease Hubert felt about his future counterpart of his classmate. Their plan to besiege Garreg Mach would occur eventually. Considering the future Prime Minister seemed hale and hearty, it appeared Ferdinand would support Lady Edelgard's ideals when the time came. With any luck, perhaps the rest of the Black Eagles would follow suit. But who could say with certainty that would be the case for their future? "Oh, look what we have here!" Dorothea's voice broke through Hubert's musings. She held up the Prime Minister's hand, her thumb rubbing a gold band on his left finger. Green eyes landed on the younger Aegir, a teasing glint in her eyes. "When's the wedding, Ferdy?" Ferdinand became flustered once everyone's attention landed on him. "What are you implying?" "Well, it is a noble thing to arrange marriages, right? I figured you'd tell us if you were to be wed to a noble lady of some sort." Somehow, the Aegir heir's face turned scarlet. No, I have not been arranged to be married. In the past, yes, but that was called off when it was deemed the marriage would not be suitable for our respective houses." "So then it's a meeting yet to happen? Oh, how romantic," Dorothea pouted. "Kind of jealous at that, actually." "Do not fret, Dorothea," Prime Minister Ferdinand assured her. "You will attain that happy future you dream of. After all, I myself have seen it." "So, Bernadetta nervously squeaked. "Who is it? Your wife, I mean." "That I cannot tell you." Something as simple as Ferdinand von Aegir's future spouse could cause a butterfly effect? Edelgard sounded both surprised and intrigued. "Then they must be someone truly outstanding." Prime Minister Ferdinand beamed. "Yes, they are indeed." "But saying that only gives us more curiosity," Petra replied, becoming more invested in this mystery by the second. "Do you have certainty it would have a negative effect on our timeline?" "In my younger self's case, yes," the elder von Aegir admitted with a smirk. "But if you are all so curious, I suppose I can give you a hint and leave it up to you to figure out who it is."
Yes, please.
All of the girls agreed immediately. The man chuckled heartily. "All right. In true Dorothea style, this is my hint. My dearly beloved is considered a snake, but one who can sing an aria."
What?"
Bernadetta repeated.
"That's not a great hint at all."
"Trust me, it is more than enough. And, Bernadetta, I am sure you will be the first one to figure it out, considering your special talents." He winked at her, and she quickly hid behind the cover of a book to hide her blush. "For now, I must bid you adieu. I am to meet with Professor Byleth and Professor Hanneman to hopefully figure out a way to send me back to my proper timeline. In the meantime, have fun solving that riddle. I am eager to see what your guesses will be." Hubert rolled his eyes while the Prime Minister disappeared. To think even Lady Edelgard wanted to be involved in such nonsense. But such was the temptation of learning about one's future, even if it wasn't her own. A snake singing an aria. An impossible image. Of all the things to describe one's wife, Edelgard mused with interest, why a snake? Maybe she has a silver tongue? Snakes are predators. They move with quickness, and some attack with strangulation or poison. Perhaps she is a warrior of stealth and efficiency, suggested Petra. "Snakes are frightening or disgusting depending on how you see them," Dorothea hummed. "I've seen some that are actually kind of cute if you look at them from a beady, puppy dog-eyed perspective. And the more colorful ones, even if they seem beautiful, are the deadliest, right?" Petra nodded. "Yes and no. Even the less pretty ones can still have deadliness. They have had hearing of some that are extremely venomous. One bite is enough to kill many humans." "I don't think Ferdinand married an actual snake," Edelgard giggled. "But it gives us something to think about." "Especially that part about singing an aria," Dorothea added. "Does that mean literally? Is she a good singer, or is it metaphorical?" "Bernie, you have had the quietness for a while now." Bernadetta flinched at Petra's call-out. "What has you thinking so deeply?"
Nothing at all.
Her eyes kept darting towards Hubert for some reason.
Just wondering how Ferdinand might have fallen in love with someone like that.
Good point. Edelgard turned towards Ferdinand, genuinely curious. Do you have any idea who it could be, Ferdinand? The Eyre heir shook his head before placing a hand to his forehead. I am as mystified as you all are. I cannot fathom who I would love if that is how people in the future describe them.
Love is love, Ferdy,
even when it doesn't make sense.
Whoever they are, the future you obviously thinks the world of them.
She smiled at him. Whoever they are, they make you happy. Take comfort in the fact that you, a noble, married for love. Ferdinand's expression softened before a beaming grin spread across his face. You are right, Dorothea. Whatever my future holds, I shall face it head on. And one day, I shall meet this aria-singing snake. I must simply have patience until that time comes. Hubert silently sighed. That would only come true if his and Lady Edelgard's plans didn't cause this future mystery wife's premature demise. Absolutely no one could figure it out. Annette didn't fit the snake description. Lysithea couldn't sing. Dorothea was the closest to the hint, but the Prime Minister had told them the guess was incorrect. So it either meant the woman was not at Garrigmach, or they had yet to meet her. Before everyone knew it, the Garrigmach ball had arrived. All thoughts about the mystery of Ferdinand's future bride vanished amongst the dances and music of the ballroom. Hubert hated the atmosphere with a fierce intensity. It was too bright and romantic and stifling. He would not deny Lady Edelgard her fun and enjoyment, so he decided to leave early for the night. He doubted anyone would attempt anything with her, since he spent half the night glaring at would-be suitors that dared to approach her. He would never admit that, deep down in the darkest recesses of his heart, he felt awkward standing in the ballroom alone. That loneliness became a bit too much for him, so he decided to stuff the feeling out by leaving the place that was causing it. Leaving already, Hubert? He froze, head darting towards where he heard the voice. At one of the abandoned garden gazebos, the Prime Minister sat with a cup of tea, his bronze eyes locking onto the Vestra air. The night is still young. I'm tired, was Hubert's curt reply. Tired of what exactly? Ferdinand asked. Do not lie to me about being sleepy. You and I both know you are accustomed to working at night. He hated how easily the elder Ferdinand saw through his ruse. No use lying, then. I am tired of all the saccharine acts occurring around me. I had to get away from it all. Yes, you are not one for sentimentalities, the man grinned. But surely your night was still fun? If you can hide calling in a corner fun. The Prime Minister froze. Did no one ask to dance with you? Of course not, Hubert scoffed. He hadn't intended it to sound as bitter as it did. Why would they want to? Not even Edelgard? I would not wish to distract Her Highness with such trivialities. Whether I have fun or not is inconsequential. Ferdinand placed his teacup down before standing up. Again, belittling your own feelings for the sake of others. You have not changed one bit. Whatever do you mean? The Prime Minister strode over to him, sweeping up one hand and placing his other on his waist. In that case, may I have this dance? Hubert stiffened in his grip. What? No, I don't need... From you of all people. Just one dance is all I ask. Just so you can say you did so if Edelgard asks. You know she will, and if she finds out you did not, then she will be upset with you. Hubert reluctantly sighed. That she will. Fine, one dance, but only because no one else is around to see us. Ferdinand beamed, and Hubert took the full brunt of the brightness to his face. Then I will ensure it is one you will remember always. Even from the garden gazebo, they could still hear the music. The slow waltz allowed Ferdinand to take his time, easing Hubert into each step that came despite the younger male's inexperience with dancing. The future Prime Minister's hand was warm, his grip firm but gentle, and his eyes focusing only on Hubert the entire time. It was a bit unnerving how much he felt those eyes could see right through him, but there was no apprehension about what exactly they could see. Hubert let out a brief panic gasp when he was led into a dip, his hands circling to Ferdinand's too tightly. But he was slowly brought back to his feet, his hands clinging to Ferdinand too tightly. He was slowly brought back to his feet, his heart rate calming down now that he was back on solid ground. Yellow-green met ember-orange, one confused, while one was enraptured. This moment was a secret dream come true. Hubert would never admit it to anyone but himself. After all, whatever feelings he felt towards the classmate he knew would not lead to anything. The Prime Minister right in front of him was proof of that. I still have much to learn. Be patient with him, the future Ferdinand said, leaning in close. One day he will see you, all of you, and realize how wrong he was. Hubert felt his throat close up, his tongue tying in knots. Ridiculous. He loathes me and everything I am. We will never get along. That is not true, for it is you my heart belongs to one day. It took a solid 5 seconds for that sentence to sink in. Hubert gasped at him when he finally did. What? But I am not. Ferdinand caressed his cheek, his smile full of love and adoration, directed at him. No, you are not my wife. Everyone assumed that to be the case, understandably, but the person I fell in love with was you. You are my devoted husband, my deadly snake who strikes swiftly when the enemy dares to threaten him or those he cherishes, the man who appears to be a demon, but secretly has the heart and voice of an angel, my treasured partner in life and in battle, the moonlight that I wish to indulge in every night, the guarded soul who still thinks he is unworthy of the love willingly given to him. You are my dearest, my beloved. Hubert had no words to say, stunned as he was. No one had ever described him, least of all spoken to him in such positive ways before. You are many things, Hubert von Vestra, and I shall tell you what they are. Loyal, strong, courageous, self-sacrificing, beautiful. I could go on, but I believe you might combust on the spot, judging by how red your face is right now. You don't really mean that. He couldn't. There was no way those could be Ferdinand's true thoughts. I'm not. You are. You are all of that and so much more. A pair of lips found his forehead, pressing a tender kiss there, and the younger me will come to realize that too, fighting for the new dawn that you and Her Majesty wish to see, my love. When the new dawn arrives, our beginning will come with it. I want to believe that, but you must see it yourself to truly believe it. I know. Ferdinand lifted one of Hubert's hands to press a kiss to the knuckles. I look forward to that day, Hubert, because then you will finally realize that you are loved, wholly, completely, and most ardently, just by being who you are. I love you as you are now, and who you will become, Hubert von Vestra. After all, they are one and the same. It is the me you know now who must learn to see the diamond hidden in the rough, and I have faith that he will eventually. Goddess, you are such a shameless romantic, Hubert spat, but it held no malice, and for once he dared to hope. When you return, remind my future self to hit you for being such a ridiculous sap. For that matter, smack some sense into me if all it takes is some pretty words to get me to love the likes of you. Prime Minister Ferdinand chuckled. Past or present, his love for Hubert von Vestra remained the same, as were his beloved's flustered reactions when he spoke so sweetly. As you wish, my dear.